Forget all you know about podcasts. We welcome you to an experience uniquely different. Please join us for our coverage of all entertainment on the fringe of society. The candles are lit, the lights are down low. It is now time to welcome our host as he steps up to the pulpit. The sacrifice has been prepared for the midnight black mass.
Ghastly greetings, groovy ghoulies, and welcome to another edition of the Midnight Black Mass. I am your host, the maniacal minister of the occult, the devil you know, the Reverend Dan Wilson, here once again with our brand new co-host, the Wizard of Oz, Andrew Alexander. How's it going, my man?
We're back. We didn't get canceled after one show. I'm shocked.
I am shocked as well, but quite a favorable response to the first episode. Thank you to all that tuned in on the Potty Humor Network as well as the Beyond Ringside Network. And now we're rocking and rolling into Volume 6.
I think you need to tell everybody the story about how you convinced me to do this. You tricked me. You could have just asked, but you called me from a hurricane, it sounds like. I can barely hear you, and you say, "Hey, Andy, you interested in some black ass? How would you like to be a part of some black ass? Just call this number for black ass." And I'm like, cool, I call it. I'm on a radio show. You hustled me.
Hey, I am the great trickster, the great master of mischief. So, but now aren't you glad that you fell for that con?
Yes, this is much. The black mass is greater than or equal to black ass any day of the week.
Whoa, I don't know about greater than there, but I mean, I'll accept equal to, at least.
Well, that's a good time either way.
So, we both had a pretty relaxing weekend. I actually hung out with you for the first time in forever, and that was quite an entertaining time. We got to do a little background work and prep on these upcoming episodes, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we celebrated. I think we're going to go into detail in a new segment about that celebration, or what came from the celebration. Actually, you don't know about, but it's going to make for a good story.
I can't wait to hear it.
In our Tales of the Single Man.
Yes, the Tales of the Single Man are coming up, a brand new segment debuting tonight. Overwhelming response for our new segments from last week, the game show, which will be returning tonight, Promo or Porno, as well as the Dear Andy segment. I know you've been burning up the email box, folks out there, but if you forgot, later on tonight we're going to talk about it. Romantic advice from our one and only co-host, Mr. Andrew Alexander. You can email him at askandymBM@hotmail.com. Get those questions in there. He is going to be your love guru. Moving on in the show, though, it's time to get to some news. This is the part that's wrestling heavy of the program, where we talk about the happenings and the goings-on in the world of professional wrestling. Wrestle News starts now. So the first big topic I want to talk about, Andrew, is just blowing up all over my social media feed as I record this. Of course, there's been a lot of controversy lately with TNA Wrestling and their relationship with their new television provider, Destination America. TNA has been rumored to, we've heard everything from that they're getting canceled to that the exact opposite of that is true. And so the truth, as I'm sure, lies somewhere in between. But in the midst of all of that confusion, we find out that Ring of Honor Wrestling will be debuting in June on Destination America at Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. as a lead-in to TNA Wrestling. What do you make of all of this?
Well, I think it's even more interesting for people who actually have Destination America. I can't find the channel, so I'm sure there's some people out there that are really excited because they're getting 2 hours of wrestling from two different companies, which is definitely going to be interesting. I think it's going to be interesting to see how long that stays that way, because I mean the rumors seem to be that they still plan to drop TNA wrestling. Obviously we don't know for sure. It's all hearsay, and who knows what these guys are thinking. They must be shelling out a lot of money for this product from TNA to want to drop it, because here you have a channel that no one's heard of, that's just trying to get off the ground, and if your show isn't good enough for them, that's pretty bad. And it's not that the TNA show isn't necessarily good enough, but in their eyes, it doesn't seem to be worth the money that they're paying for it. But I don't see how they could really lose with the 2-hour block of wrestling from the only two real alternatives to WWE in the country. I guess Lucha Underground is kind of taking off, but this seems like it should be a big moneymaker for them, and I hope it is. Whether I'm follow and want to watch 100 hours of wrestling a week, or whether I don't want to watch any, I still want the business to succeed. And I wish there were 50 companies like Ring of Honor, throughout the country, where everybody could go, and where guys could have a place to work and fans could have a variety of product to watch. But that's just not the case. But maybe this could be a start to something finally, some competition for Vinnie Mac.
Yeah, I think it is smart to put at least the only two alternatives out there in a concentrated block. I think it makes wrestling seem cooler, at least in the eyes of the people that watch the network. And it is also, as much as people want to count them down, it is awful hard to count TNA completely out of the picture, because every time people have pronounced them dead, and there's no telling how much money they've lost in the history of their operations, but they somehow find a way to keep it going. So you can't really count those guys out. And, for, like you said, for the good of the business and all of our buddies with jobs there and elsewhere, I hope every promotion thrives. Anybody that's celebrating the potential demise of a wrestling promotion and you're in the wrestling business, you probably need to be buying a ticket, unless you work for them and they fucked you directly. Then you maybe have some grounds to bitch. But otherwise, you just, as I always say, you sound like sour grapes.
You may be a shitbird if you're doing that. That's just a little foreshadowing there. But that's definitely
you could be. Yeah.
Another thing could be interesting if this takes off is I know there's just always been kind of this what if, maybe question in the background of if TNA and Ring of Honor did something together. And this seems like the perfect opportunity where you want to do that, where you keep the promotion separate, but you could build to some sort of super card and have a lot of guys, which would be interesting, because Ring of Honor is using some former TNA talent like Christopher Daniels, Kazarian, AJ Styles, even Samoa Joe, who has been making big headlines this past week too. It'd be interesting to see what his new WWE deal would allow him to do. But I don't see why these guys couldn't work together and try to build up to a big supercard pay-per-view that might actually sell some tickets.
Yeah, you have to wonder. And speaking of Samoa Joe, that's another big headline. Of course, the latest NXT TakeOver event occurred last week as we record this. And to rave reviews, there's a magnificent card from top to bottom. We actually got to indulge in that over the weekend, and really, really enjoyed the card. And, of course, Samoa Joe was the big surprise. Came out, went face-to-face with Kevin Owens, the NXT champion. Got to wonder, is his deal going to be one that they continue to allow him to do these indie shots, or is he just finishing up dates? Is it going to be more like of a Rhino-type contract where he's used there in NXT, but they don't have any designs really for him on the main roster? Very interesting to see what goes down with that.
It looks like, again, this is just hearsay, but it looks like it is allowing him to do other dates. I know after that happened, Ring of Honor announced a big event with Joe and AJ Styles teaming up to face the aforementioned Kazarian and Daniels in a tag match. So, and the WWE has always had at least some sort of working relationship with Ring of Honor, just from the fact that you can see Ring of Honor footage and photos on some of the DVDs and Blu-ray and WWE.com articles they've done on past Ring of Honor stars, they've used that footage, so they have some sort of working relationship, even if it's just a small amount. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what Joe's allowed to do, what he does in the future with NXT, and if that transfers to the main roster. I mean, and you know, he looked good when he came out. He dropped some weight. He looked in pretty good shape. It may have been just because he was standing beside Kevin Owens. I don't know, but it's definitely going to be worth watching.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of Joe, always been a fan of his work. I think he's a bit of a throwback. He does incorporate somewhat of the modern style, but he knows what his shit is, and he knows how to get it over and keep it over. And if booked even remotely correctly, I think they'll do good business for them. So, as you said, I'm very excited to see where it goes. Speaking of the WWE, interesting things happening on the recent episodes of Monday Night Raw, in that we're seeing a bit of two of our favorite things colliding, pro wrestling and the world of comics. Certainly not unfamiliar bedfellows, but we've actually seen the Arrow from the hit CW television program, Stephen Amell, appear on Raw. Looks like he's gearing up into a program with Stardust, who actually, the whole Stardust persona reminds me so very much of the Frank Gorshin Riddler from the 1966 Batman series. And so the combination of the two is really hilarious to me. What do you think?
Yeah, that's something I'm excited about, because I know that Stephen Amell is a big wrestling fan. He's been trying to do something. You know, he's in good shape. He's done stunts and things like that on Arrow. It's not the greatest. It's not a huge leap from pro wrestling. I mean, he strikes me as a guy that you could put him there with someone good that could carry him through a match, and he could get through it, and it could be entertaining. And it's obviously a superhero versus supervillain type of thing with Stardust. The little I've seen, I know there was some Twitter action between the two, or maybe just on Stardust's side, but I didn't keep up with that. But I did see on Raw, and then an interview after the match where Stardust, basically said that that's not Stephen Amell, that's the Arrow. I know his true identity and things such as that. So I'm very interested, and I think Cody Rhodes he's kind of the perfect guy to do that with. He hasn't been doing a lot lately, but he's a really talented guy. He's a fan of comic books. I know back when he did the disfigured Cody Rhodes thing, it was a direct take on Dr. Doom, which I thought was great. He even had quote-unquote Doom bots when he would use the indie guys in the suits handing out the paper bags. This is something I hope they really get behind. I could see this going into SummerSlam. The Arrow's a huge show. He's in the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. They hype that on Raw as well. So this could be really big, and it could be something that Cody needs to kind of get back on track to doing a little bit more instead of putting R-Truth over. There's nothing wrong with putting R-Truth over.
Oh, no, not at all. But no, it's a great crossover for them. It's a great crossover for them in that it's good business, because the same people that are hardcore nerds about wrestling are usually hardcore nerds about comics. Maybe not always the other way around, but definitely the first example I gave. So looking forward to seeing that. I know you had some comments about Zack Ryder, apparently. I didn't see it, but what did you want to comment about that?
Well, I just found it very interesting that John Cena's been doing the U.S. Open Challenge, where he basically has been working with a lot of the younger guys. I think it's great. I think it's the best segment on Raw every week, I think. It's always entertaining. It's always interesting. And this week they were in Long Island. They were in the Coliseum. It's being torn down. There's a good bit of history there, going back to the 80s even. And, the cast from the Entourage movie was there, and they brought out Zack Ryder. He answers the challenge, and I know it was Long Island. I know that's his hometown, so obviously he's going to be more over than, just anywhere. But it's just proof that here's a guy who did what they always tell guys to do. He got over. He didn't get a little over. He got really over by himself, and they just didn't they started to do something with it, and they just stopped. And they just made him so under. And now when he comes out, you know, the fans, they haven't cared about him as much as they did a couple years ago because, you know, they've been conditioned not to. But in one segment, they made him important again, and it was like they never missed a beat. He was insanely over. Like I said, I know it was his hometown, and they played that up a lot, which is fine. But it just shows you that, you know, here they've got guys that if they cared a little bit more about, the people would care more about. And it's just really weird. He goes out there and he wrestles John Cena, who is the face of the company and will be until basically he or Vince McMahon decides that he's not going to be any longer. And he goes up there and has, you know, a pretty good match. It wasn't terribly long, but it was a good showing. And he looks strong again, but you know, he's wrestled, you know, you can think back, he wrestled Rusev a few times. He gets beat in 30 seconds. You know, I just think that's kind of bad booking when you have that here, okay, he wrestles this guy and he gets squashed in a matter of seconds, and then he can wrestle John Cena and go toe-to-toe. It's just that this roller coaster of booking they do with guys that I just don't think it's good for anybody. It's definitely not good for business.
Well, you'll have an opportunity to expand upon that just a little bit later. Just a quick question. Did you tell anybody to call in? Because I thought I had this on private, but we definitely have a caller in the queue, so I'm about to check and see who it is.
I didn't tell anyone to call in. I don't want to step on your toes here. I just follow you. Ask them what's up.
Okay, well, let's say hello. Caller, you're on the Midnight Black Mass. Who is this?
Hey, it's Larry Goodman.
Larry, what the hell? I don't even know how you saw us on, but that's very cool.
This email went out that I got saying this event is on now, and I was having trouble getting it on my computer. I said, well, I'll just put it on my phone. I'm just curious to see what they're talking about. So I didn't have any intention of...
really?
Yeah. So...
Very
Sorry, I wasn't trying to butt in or anything. I just was going to listen to what you were saying, and here I am.
Oh, no problem. No, this is Volume 6 of the program. We're recording Episode 2 right now to air here in a week or so. The first episode will be debuting this Sunday night, so you definitely need to check it out. You'll certainly get the links and everything. But going for a whole new format here. We're kind of we're keeping wrestling in the loop, but we're adding some crazy raunchy comedy and some funny skits, and you know, just kind of have a little bit more fun with it.
Oh, great. Well, I'm all about raunchy skits and comedy, so I'll just sit back and listen. Again, I wasn't trying to, cut in. Just wanted to see what you're talking about.
Oh, no problem at all. Always good to hear from you, man. So hang tight and enjoy the show. Take care.
Will do. Nice talking with you guys. Bye.
Hey, see you, Larry.
See ya.
Okay. So,
Larry Goodman's a fan.
Yes.
Or maybe he's not. Maybe he's like, let's listen to these assholes. What are they going to talk about? He's making fun. Maybe it's a drinking game. Every time I stumble over a word or something, he takes a shot.
Quite possibly.
Well, I'm new to this, so he's going to be hammered in no time.
It won't take long. It won't take long. So I think that rounds out the news. We can save some of the other things that we're going to talk about for next week. I did want to briefly mention a plug for Pro South Wrestling. You can find information about this upcoming DVD release of their huge event that featured AJ Styles versus Jimmy Rave one more time. You can go to facebook.com/woowrestling.net. The DVD drops June the 12th. I will be providing the play-by-play commentary on that along with Al Getz, one of my former broadcast partners from the NWA Wildside days. Going to be a lot of fun. What's going down at Empire Wrestling this week?
Well, we're actually going to be off until the last 2 Saturdays in June. Touched on this a little bit in episode 1. Some summertime festivals. The big Riverbend Fest in Chattanooga. Every year since we've been doing Empire, that's kind of the hardest 2 weeks to get the crowd in, and I don't blame them at all. There's always that's kind of the biggest thing that comes to this area for the whole year, so they want to take part in that. And Saturday nights are the big nights at that fest, both weeks. both weekends. So that's completely understandable, and I know sometimes we have a lot of the wrestlers, a lot of the talent, people on the staff want to take off that show to go to the festival too. So this year we've just kind of made it easy. We don't want people to have to pick and choose, and we're going to bow out the first 2 weeks in June and come back the last 2 weekends in June and tear things up going into July 11th, our next mega event, Crazy from the Heat. And got some idea for a couple matches for that card. Going to start announcing those, making them official. Still working on some contracts, some problems with some people. Trying to get everything in line to make sure that the Crazy from the Heat event is every bit as good as last year's, which was insane. So we're trying to top that. So that's what we got going on. So just a few weeks until July 11th, Crazy from the Heat. Got to make sure you're there.
It's a can't-miss event for the summer for sure. Empire Wrestling has delivered the goods on that each and every time out. But I am glad you're taking off for Riverbend because, God-damn it, I wanted to see Merle Haggard. So now I'm going to get to. So all is well
there you go.
with the world.
It's just such a hassle, and this year there's just no need for it. Just everybody can have a good time and have their cake and eat it too.
Outstanding. Well, moving along in the program, we're going to go to a brief commercial break. We'll be right back with Old Man Haters. Don't go anywhere.
The Midnight Black Mass is pleased to announce we have become an affiliate of the World Wrestling Network at WWNLive.com, the home of the finest iPay-per-view and video on demand in all of professional wrestling, featuring promotions like Dragon Gate USA, Evolve, Combat Zone Wrestling, OVW, Shimmer, Shine, $5 Wrestling, and the vaunted Kayfabe commentaries with their You Shoot, their guest booker, and their timeline series. You have to check it out. Of course, you can always go to their main page at WWNLive.com, but if you will, do us a solid, go to Facebook.com/PottyHumor or follow me on Twitter at Dragons Rejects. We'll be posting our own unique links to these events as affiliates. If you go through our link, they give us a little kickback, and we greatly appreciate it.
Whether you're having an autograph session, personal appearance, or live event, we got just the person you need to contact for all of those needs. SBI Bookings is home of some of the best stars in the wrestling industry today. They provide you with the best talent this business has to offer, from Kevin Nash, Larry Zbyszko, Scott Steiner, and many, many more. So who will you contact next time you're planning an event? The men of SBI Bookings. Check them out at sbibookings.com.
Oh man, why do you hate everything new? Partly because I don't understand it, and partly because fuck you. It's time for Old Man Haters.
What's wrong with you? It's either this show or indigestion. I hope it's indigestion.
Why?
It'll get better in a little while.
And we're back on the Midnight Black Mass. It's time for Old Man Haters. That's where me and my compadre, Andrew Alexander, pull up our pants and clean the wax out of our ears and become grouchy old pricks and bitch about things for just a little bit. Are you ready to do some bitching? Are you feeling surly, Andrew?
I always feel surly.
Trick question. You didn't get the nickname Eeyore for nothing, right?
That's right.
So the first topic I want to address, a little outside the realm of wrestling, but it certainly ties back into it. There was a huge controversy this past week on Game of Thrones, which is a show known for violent beheadings and lots of over-the-top sex and gratuitous nudity. It takes place in a fantasy world similar to the Middle Ages. If you don't know what Game of Thrones is, you've been living under a fucking rock. But essentially, there was a raping to a popular female character, and certainly don't condone rape in any aspect, nor even rape culture that perpetuates women as objects and makes, where people say that women were dressed scantily, so they were asking for it. I'm very much against all that. However, when using rape as a plot device in a fictional universe, you have to do bad things to the characters that you love to generate sympathy for them so that you want to see them overcome that conflict. And so in this case, that's exactly what it was done for. It was to use a wrestling term, a measure of getting heat. And it succeeded. However, in the world that they've built, they have to take things to that extreme before you can get that sympathy. Because in the show where the main character gets his head chopped off in the first season, spoiler alert, you set the bar very high, and you have to go to great lengths to make those characters sympathetic. Your thoughts?
I am a Game of Thrones fan. I think, like you said, if you don't have to be a fan of it, but if you're not familiar with it, you are living under a rock. I've actually not watched this season yet. I was going to wait until the season was over and do a 1 or 2 day binge watch on it. So I've avoided spoilers, which I've avoided pretty well, but, I couldn't avoid this. I think it's just, everyone's just way too sensitive about stuff. Is rape a sensitive subject? Sure. It's not a good thing. You don't want to just throw it out there all the time. It's not something that you can just necessarily make light of. But like you said, this is fictional characters. This is a show that when you're watching it that it's violent, it's uncomfortable. It shows things that it would be different if you're letting your kids watch something, or you're watching a sitcom, you're watching something that's not known for this, and boom, out of nowhere, no warning, there's a major character getting raped. That's different. That's a little bit different. That gives you something to gripe about when you're not expecting it and you see it, and maybe your children who you don't want exposed to it are exposed to it, something such as that. But I don't understand why people complain. We've all become way too sensitive. You can't get away with anything. And I think these entertainments, whether it be a drama, whether it be some sort of comedy making fun of something, whether it be any type of this storytelling, for starters, it's not real. It's never real. But I don't understand why people just can't be a little more relaxed. If you don't find it entertaining, or if you don't find it funny, that's fine. You don't have to. But to make such a stink about something like this, it's so ridiculous to me. It pisses me off so much that just society has gotten so overly sensitive. I mean, you look at just even 10 years ago, which we were old men 10 years ago, so it's crazy to think about. But even since then, society has gotten so much more sensitive. I mean, what are we not going to be able to do in 10 years from now? What are we not going to be able to get away with mentioning or talking about, or, like you said, in wrestling, getting heat? There's not going to be any heat anymore. There's going to be no bad guys, no villains.
No, I wonder, what kind of fucking person just sits around waiting for something to offend them? It has to be a fucking miserable life that one would lead, to just sit around waiting to be hurt or to be offended. I can't fucking understand it for the life of me. And like you said, have we gotten so sensitive that can we even get heat in professional wrestling anymore? I don't know. I think maybe that's a big reason you don't see as many super strong heels anymore, because they don't want to take it to where you've got to take it to truly piss people off. And then there's the audience. That's a whole other subject. But essentially, fuck off if you're just somebody looking around trying to find something to be offended by, because you're going to find it. Guess what? Spoiler alert again, you're going to find it. Promise you. You're going to find it everywhere you look, and you're going to make everyone else's life around you miserable as fuck. Moving on.
Yeah, well, when did this become a thing? When did it become a thing that everything was watched so closely, and there's groups of people that they form actual groups just to gripe about these type of things, just to bitch about stuff? When did it become, my kids saw this on TV, so they may do it? Things used to happen on TV. Kids see stuff. Kids see, whether it be wrestling or fighting in movies, kids see this stuff. That doesn't necessarily mean that they think it's okay to do or they're going to go out and do it. That's where I think it becomes the job of parents to educate their children. Oh, killing people isn't good. It's not right. You're not supposed to do that. I mean, I watched all sorts of violent shit growing up. I haven't killed anybody yet. The key word is yet, though.
Yeah, I think you might want me to take that out in post, just in case.
Oh, God,
I don't want to be implicated.
Oh, your new co-host said he was going to kill someone.
It's possible. Anything is possible. So I understand you had a topic that you wanted to address on the Old Man Haters tonight.
Well, yeah, it's about wrestling. It's just something I've thought recently. I've really, I try not to be the old man hater when it comes to WWE specifically. I really do. I try and do a better job than a lot of people out there of just enjoying it and just taking it what it is and trying not to, this was better back in my day, take some of those lines, because there are things that were better, and there are things that if they put on TV in 1990, it wouldn't have been the same. Like if we got enhancement matches every week for an entire 3-hour show, we wouldn't like it. We would gripe about that too. So I really try to play devil's advocate, but I just can't help but feel that there's not a lot of really good, solid booking going on in the WWE, because everything is so short-sighted. Everything is, we've got to get people to buy the network now. We've got to get people to buy the network this month. We have to do all these tricks to get people to sign up for the network now. When it seems if they planted some seeds and did some long-term booking like you used to see and build stuff up, maybe you don't get 1 million subscribers to your network in the month of May, but maybe July and August you see a huge jump because you did some things that were more entertaining and more that were better built. The thing that comes to mind really is, we all saw Kevin Owens debut on Raw, the former Kevin Steen. He does this segment with John Cena. It's a good segment. He looks strong. He looks like he belongs. And I don't mind the segment because you're trying to get people aware to tune in to the NXT special. You want to get the champion out there so people are like, oh, well, this guy beat up John Cena. I've got to see what he's about. I get that, but then you make a pay-per-view match for the thrown together WWE Network exclusive, which I believe it's still being billed as, Elimination Chamber. And I just think if that doesn't build up a little bit, maybe to a SummerSlam or maybe even going forward, which it very well could, and everything I've said could be wrong, I just think that's bad booking. Like, that's something you could have had. You have your NXT champion that is getting a lot of steam. The NXT brand is getting a lot of steam, and this is a guy that does have some name recognition. People know him. People want to see him versus John Cena. I think you could build that up, and it'd be a lot more than it's on this extremely random pay-per-view. But maybe that's just Go ahead.
Are they just serving too many masters now that we may never see the traditional style of even booking come back on that major level? Everything is about social media content, and everything is about the network, and it's always just pushing the very next thing, and there's so much content to push. I just don't know if we've ever got a chance of seeing that return.
I don't know. That's tough to say. Because I think a selling point on the network should be the history, because it's got, every pay-per-view that's ever happened you can watch. That in itself should be a big selling point. I think a lot of the exclusive network shows that they're doing now are big selling points. I think the Austin podcast, he's got one coming up, I believe Monday after Raw with Paul Heyman. I think that's a big selling point. I think I saw the Mick Foley special on there, just the cheap pops. It's kind of a live podcast type. It's just a one-man show Q&A. And it was so good. It was extremely well done. It was worth $9.99. I think those things you could focus a little bit on and use those to sell your network. Plus, you have the pay-per-views, which could sell them on their own. You have all of these things. NXT, that's worth $9.99, especially to a hardcore wrestling fan. I just think they have a lot they can sell this on, and if they would focus on just doing great storytelling, which we know they can, anytime they just decide to, they can. You know, WrestleMania season comes around. The shows tend to be better, and the shows tend to have better storylines and things such as that for the most part because they turn it up because they want to. Why can't we get a little of that spread out throughout the entire year?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, what the fuck is the obsession with Twitter there? Like, I know it's a useful social media platform. I use it. It's very popular. But is there any company that pushes Twitter harder than they do?
Oh, well, I see a lot of the network shows will have, and no, it's not pushed as much. Let me answer that really quick. But they'll have, you know, a hashtag because they want people to talk about the show and they can share that and everyone can check out what people are saying. And though I have very rarely, you know, I've clicked on a hashtag or two just to see what comes up with it. You know, and I'm just one person. I know the majority are using Twitter, are using these things and checking out and conversing with people, and that's great. But no one pushes it as much as them. And, you know, in a couple of years, I think maybe everyone's going to, and then the WWE will get to take credit for being visionaries because they push Twitter down everyone's throat. But, man, it's so much. It's just so much constantly, all the time. Talk about this on Twitter. If Twitter was a superstar, he would get a huge push because Vince would just be all over this guy's balls. Why don't they have a masked guy named Mr. Twitter or something? He would be the champ.
I can see it now. The meeting's like, he's like, hey, pal. So, what do I have to do to become trending?
He's got a hashtag. He's gonna hashtag. He's gonna trend. Hashtag what a maneuver.
Yeah. Like I don't get it. And like you say, I hate to be the hater on WWE because every time anybody in the business does it, it comes off as sour grapes, and it's not that. I mean, they're the King Kong Goliath. I could never do what they do, but just my observation as an outside party.
What the fuck is a podcast? Who listens to podcasts, damn it? Need to listen to the radio.
Sir, we have one on our network, sir.
Oh, is it trending? Damn it, it's got to be trending.
So I
Everyone's
think
got
that
a Vince McMahon impersonation.
Yeah, as many people have Vince impersonations as they do Bill Barron's impersonations.
Oh, well, we got to be trending. I would see the Bill impersonation I could do to his face, but Vince McMahon, there's not enough money. I would never make fun of Vince McMahon to his face. I've been in his presence. He is an intimidating man.
Oh, he is. It has a handshake like a fucking vice grip. Will crush your hand. I remember the first time I met Vince, I was just errand boy for Bill, running there backstage, and Bill introduced me to him. And, yeah, I thought he was going to break my fucking hand. I really did.
He probably wanted to.
He's like, who the fuck is this little shitbird?
It was a great story of us at WrestleMania. I know you didn't get to partake, but I was at WrestleMania when they were in Atlanta and doing part of the Triple H entrance. And, you know, a couple of guys, it's late. We're rehearsing this thing at 2 a.m, and we're laying around on the stage, and Vince McMahon comes in, and luckily I see him, and I'm standing there basically like if it was a drill sergeant walking in the room, and he looks around, he sees all these gladiators laying all over his WrestleMania stage. It's, you know, pristine condition, cleaned. You could eat off of it, and they're just laying there, and He goes, God damn it, there's gladiators all over my fucking stage. And I was like, well, not this one, sir. I would never lay on your stage, sir. I hope you're trending. He's a scary man.
So I think that wraps up Old Man Haters. We're going to take a brief commercial break. But first, the debut of a brand new segment. And then we're coming back with another new segment. This is just a brief lead into the break, but it's done by our own Strong Style Psycho Tank. And we're back from commercial. The brand new debut of Tales of the Single Man. Fuck or fail. Don't go anywhere.
Because you do not get to win, shitbird. We do.
Won't you cry, oh shitbird, yeah.
Shitbird. And now, the Shitbird Break, featuring your friendly neighborhood Strong Style Psycho Tank.
If your training took place on a trampoline, you might be a shitbird.
This has been the Shitbird Break, featuring the Strong Style Psycho Tank. Tune in each and every week on the Midnight Black Mass to find out how you can avoid being a shitbird.
Wrestling fans, Anarchy Wrestling television tapings are the second and fourth Saturdays of every month at 4236 Level Grove Road in Cornelia, Georgia. For more information on Anarchy Wrestling and on the shows, to watch the television product, and a whole lot more, go to anarchy-wrestling.net. That's Anarchy Wrestling, the second and fourth Saturdays of every month in Cornelia, Georgia.
In a world filled with sluts, whores, and women who make questionable choices, one man sets out to fuck them all. Will our hero fuck or fail?
And we're back on the Midnight Black Mass. It's time for Tales of the Single Man, Fuck or Fail. So earlier in the show, we talked about our weekend relaxation time and preparing time and hanging out at a local restaurant establishment. I won't name them by name because I have a feeling that something involving them is about to take place in this story. So the floor is yours, and you've got right at 5 minutes.
So like you said, we go to a local restaurant to celebrate the recording of the first episode of the Midnight Black Mass Volume 6. And at this restaurant, we're enjoying some, you're having a cold beer, and I'm enjoying some wings, because they serve wings at this restaurant. And our waitress, they only have waitresses at the restaurant, she just happens to have a nice ass. And I just feel at a point that I should let her know that she has a nice ass. Not that she doesn't know or that she hasn't been told by many, many, many customers, that I'm sure she has, but she hasn't been told by me. She hasn't been told by Andrew Alexander. And I'm a single man, so I can just throw that out there. So I let her know, you've got a nice ass. She in turn lets me know that she's aware that she has a nice ass, which I'm glad she is, but I just wanted to, I feel it's okay to compliment someone, to let them know that they're doing a good job. And she was doing a good job. She was maintaining a pristine backyard, and I had to let her know that. So then I may have let her know, you should let me grab your ass. It seems like a good idea. And then she says, okay, that sounds good. And I know this sounds crazy, like how did this happen? But I promise you, that's exactly how it went down. You have a nice ass. I would like to grab it. Sure. So I tell her, well, step out to the patio in a little bit, because this restaurant has a patio to where you can go outside. You could smoke or you could eat out there, but there was no one out there at the time. So we go out onto the patio, and I proceed to just get a handful, maybe two, of this sweet, sweet ass. And I've got to tell you, it was sweet. It was wonderful. It was so wonderful that even an old man hater like myself may have got a little excited. Things maybe were coming up. Things were popping. So, next thing you know, this chick is letting me all hang out on the patio of this restaurant, and she's giving me a little HJ, a little hand job, a handy for hand. That's what I like to call it. And this is after you had left, clearly, which is good because you probably would have come out there, pulled the old Vince McMahon, hey, pal, what's going on out here? But you had left, so she's giving me a little HJ on the patio, which is pretty cool just because it's making for a good story. I mean, how many people get jerked off by a waitress while they're waitressing? And I find it funny. I never thought about that until I just said that statement that she went back in and served people food and drink. That's kind of messed up to think about, isn't it?
Let's hope she washed her hands, at least. She abided by the fucking employee policy and washed her hands. I don't know if the employee policy dictates washing hands after hand jobs or not, but it fucking should.
Well, you see those things on the bathroom, all employees must wash hands after using the bathroom. It doesn't say anything about a hand job. That's never covered. So I think she's within her rights. So that's where that story ends. But, come on, I can give myself a hand job. That's not quite enough. So, later in the week, I go to a local bar here in the scenic city of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I send her a little texty text. Luckily, I didn't say that. I didn't Mosby the situation and say those words, but I can say them to you because we know where this story's going, and I've already won. So I tell her she should come to the bar, and she asks why. So I basically say something along the lines of, a hand job, that really wasn't enough. I need that HJ to become a BJ.
Well, okay, wait a minute. Stop. You said it went from an HJ to a BJ? Right there in the restaurant?
Well, okay. I feel I should go back and add a little piece to the story. Now, I don't know if technically this girl is married. I know she may have mentioned something about a husband, but I think they're split up or they're trying to work it out, or I don't know. I didn't really listen when she was talking. But the point is, she tried to convince me on the fact that she doesn't really do that and she doesn't give her husband a blowjob, which I believe because what married man gets a blowjob, right, Rev? And
hey, you hold on there a minute.
And, I mean, I appreciate the fact that she's trying to stroke my ego by saying this, so I'll let it slide, But I just want to throw out really quick that I respect the institution of marriage. I would feel horrible knowing that I did this to some guy who had his wife and he didn't know where she was. She was staying out late, sneaking out after work to meet me at a bar in Chattanooga. That's not me. That's not what I'm about. That's not my character. So anyway, this dude's wife's blowing me in the parking lot of the bar. And and I'm telling you, if she was telling the truth about never giving head, she was like a miracle worker. Because this was amazing stuff. I mean, she was going to town.
She was perhaps it was her mutant power.
It was a hell of a mutant power because she wasn't a killer, but she blew my head off, if you know what I mean. Now, I feel that I wouldn't be doing myself. I wouldn't be doing our listeners. I wouldn't be doing right by them if I didn't try to just really, fuck this girl. Whether she's married or not, that's beside the point. It's not my fault their relationship isn't working out.
I mean, you already went to second or third base, depending on your definition of bases. When you went to the oral excursion, so if you're going there, you might as well go all the way.
Well, the thing is I planted the seed. No, I mean literally, the seed was planted in the back of her throat. So I planted the seed, and I feel that I just got to keep going. I got to try to wrap this deal up for our listeners for next week's show, because the debut episode of Tales of a Single Man, Fuck or Fail, is going to be a two-parter, because it's definitely to be continued. I haven't fucked yet, but I also haven't failed, so there's still life out there. So we're going to give it a shot. I'm going to give you guys a finale on next week's episode.
Well, I am eagerly awaiting the finale, the cliffhanger, if you will, that you left us with, and also much of the hate mail from the various feminist groups that may be listening to the program. But hey, Andrew Alexander is a true American original and our co-host here on the Midnight Black Mass, the star of Tales of a Single Man, Fuck or Fail, and more of those adventures to come next week. But when we come back from this commercial break, first of all, you're going to hear more from the Strong Style Psycho Tank with the Shitbird Break debuting tonight in its second segment. And then also, when we come back, America's favorite game show that's sweeping the nation after only 1 week on the air. It's the only thing people can talk about, folks. Promo or Porno. Our contestant is going to be our cohort and colleague from the Beyond Ringside Radio Network, Fast Eddie Lane. He's playing for the grand prize. We'll be right back with more Midnight Black Mass.
But you do not get to win, shitbird. We do.
Won't you cry? Oh, shitbird, yeah.
What was it? The shitbird?
And now, the Shitbird Break, featuring your friendly neighborhood strong style psycho, Tank.
If the only Briscoes that you know of are Mark and Jay, you might be a shitbird.
This has been the Shitbird Break, featuring the strong style psycho, Tank. Tune in each and every week on the Midnight Black Mass to find out how you can avoid being a shitbird.
Where can you find 24/7 pro wrestling, MMA, talk radio, and more? BeyondRingside.com, featuring 24/7 streaming audio, including the Midnight Black Mass, Sundays at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, except for pay-per-view weekends when they run a mini marathon and the Midnight Black Mass goes on as its namesake at midnight. But don't forget the other great shows like Beyond Ringside, Wrestle Rage, To Be Determined, and more. That's BeyondRingside.com.
Okay, folks, we're back, and it's that time.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to America's favorite game show, Promo or Porno.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Promo or Porno, where getting juice could be two entirely different things, and maybe not a bad thing. This is the Rev Dan Wilson, your host, along with the co-host of the Midnight Black Mass, Andrew Alexander, and our contestant is on the line. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the commissioner of Global Championship Wrestling. He is also the founder of the Feast of BeyondRingside.com and a longtime radio personality in the Birmingham, Alabama area. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mr. Fast Eddie Lane. How you doing, Eddie?
Exceptionally well. Thank you for having me on, and I'm looking forward to this.
Well, I hope you've been doing your homework. I hope you've got your acumen at its sharpest when it comes to pro wrestling trivia and pornographic trivia, because we're going to be playing a clip for those at home who may have missed last week's episode and not caught us. What's going to happen here is we're going to play a clip. Our contestant is going to determine. He's going to guess Did it come from a wrestling promo or a porno? And if he's right, if he gets all three right, he will be playing for the grand prize. Tell him what it is, Andrew.
Well, you will receive a 6-month membership to WatchingMyMomGoBlack.com. Not only that, that site, you will gain access to all 22 sites under the dogfart.com network. That's dogfart.com, the kings of interracial entertainment.
Oh, and so that's a huge prize. Our contestant last week, the great Muji, came up short, missing the second question. Let's see how you can do. Eddie, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's rock and roll.
Well, let me
All right.
let Eddie know that if he comes up shorter than the great Muji, I don't think there's going to be any hope for him with the ladies, because the great Muji comes up very, very short.
Well, I'll just throw this one out there. I've actually been abstinent for the last 6 years, and I'm saying that in public.
Oh.
My credit.
Oh.
No, my died.
Well, if you fail, we may give you the membership to dogfart.com.
I think our resident Casanova might have to step in there.
We'll work on that concept. Like I said, I've been abstinent because the credit card died.
Awesome. Well, the clips that we have selected this week are they're a little bit extreme in nature, and certainly just want to preface this by saying nothing that takes place in these clips is endorsed by the program. It was they were mainly picked by me because of their outlandish nature, and just because of the fact that sometimes racism and sexism, both very bad things that happen a lot in wrestling and in pornography. So that's kind of the theme of the episode tonight. So here we go. Here's the first clip, Eddie. Are you ready?
Let's do this.
He's such a faggot. I don't understand that. You better take it.
There you have it. Any guesses?
If I had to say anything right off the top of my head, that actually sounds like something that would take place in San Francisco. Address all complaint letters to somebody who gives a damn that I said that. I'm going to... You know, it's really weird because out of all of the promos that I've heard, that actually sounds familiar. But I'm going to go ahead and lay it out there and hope it lands on the table and say porno.
Oh, right off the bat. Oh, that's brutal. It was for professional wrestling. It actually came from a YouTube compilation called Pro Wrestling's Most Politically Incorrect Promos, and it was a confrontation between a man called the Prince and Boogaloo Brown, and I have no idea where in the fuck in the country it came from, but that's what it is.
Actually, like I said, it either sounds like something out of the West Coast, or it sounds like something that would probably be done up in, let's just say, the Great Lakes area.
Man, we cannot give away a membership to WatchingMyMomGoBlack.com.
Hey, I'm not complaining.
Do you think we can do the other two questions to see if I can make amends? Even though I'm not going to get the grand prize, which of course I'm hurt, but I'd just like to take a crack at it for the hell of it.
Absolutely, my friend. We will always let you go through all three because, of course, you got to try to save face. And also, perhaps, maybe not a 6-month membership, but perhaps our fine administrative assistants here at the Potty Humor Network can work something out for you if you get at least 2 out of the 3. So Here we go.
I bet you're wondering why I got you back here.
Promo or porno?
Promo.
You got it. Did you know what it was?
It sounded familiar. I just can't put my fingers on it.
it is perhaps one of the most disturbing things to ever get past the censors, I think, on WWE television. The implied prison rape of Michael Cole by Heidenreich.
Oh, wow. I forgot all about that.
Well, I drudged up that painful memory for you here tonight on Promo or Porno.
Yeah, you wonder why Michael Cole actually tried to grow a beard after that.
I don't know if I don't know that a beard helped him after that. I don't know how anyone could recover.
Well, aim.
So, you missed the first question, but came right back swinging in question number 2. Confidence through the roof, no doubt in your mind that was a promo, and you were right. So here we go, the grand finale.
I'm scared about the future of the white race. That's right. Because every day we lose a little bit of our land. Every day we lose a little bit of our rights. Yeah. And before you know it, we'll just disappear off the face of the earth, just like the Indians. That's right, because it starts with the colors. And then, before you knows it, the Jews, they swoop in, and they turn all of our beautiful land into strip mall.
So, promo or porno?
First off, I'd like to thank Glenn Beck for making a special guest appearance on the show today. And actually doing a very admirable Mr. Rogers impression on that one. Well, she's not my neighbor. If there is a pro wrestling company in the lower 48 or in the North American continent that actually let that go on either television or internet, there should be some castration going on. I'm going to go ahead and say Porno.
You would be correct. Ladies and gentlemen, Fast Eddie Lane takes 2 of the 3 this week on Promo or Porno. What do you think, Andrew? Can we give him a consolation prize?
Maybe we can get him one of those weekly guest pass to watchingmymomgoblack.com. That should run us only maybe 99 cents or so. They're going to keep our credit card information, though. I just know it.
Hey, look, I got an idea for you. Don't laugh too hard when I say this, and actually, I'm going to go ahead and run with this. If you can't pull that one off, I would actually like the complete unabashed Season 5 of the Midnight Black Mass.
Okay, we can make that happen.
That's a good deal.
Threw you a curveball on that one, didn't I?
Yeah, absolutely. It was like, wait a minute, that doesn't cost me any money.
Gary thought I'm a cheap date.
Well,
in the next 5 seconds, then most people have active brain cells. Trust me.
I think it was a success again this week. Promo or Porno continues to amaze. Your thoughts, Andrew?
Man, we're 0 for 2. No one's won yet. No one's officially got all 3.
That means we just keep going.
I'm kind of shocked, but some of these are difficult.
You know who I would like
the more we.
I've got a natural.
No, go ahead, Eddie. I'm sorry.
I'd like to recommend Mark Mabo Bowman from Beyond Ringside to come try this sometime.
Absolutely.
We welcome all comers to Promo or Porno.
That's right. We're wide open.
Wide open.
Oh, God, the puns. They won't stop.
I know.
But this has been another edition of Promo or Porno. We'll be back next week. Hopefully, working stiff again will be a good thing. Eddie, any final thoughts or plugs you wanted to get in before we say goodbye?
First off, real quick, just keep your eyes open on BeyondRingside.com. We're also on Facebook, MySpace, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, more ways than I've got active brain cells. And for me personally, Fast Eddie Lane, LAYNE.com.
Awesome. We're going to go to a brief commercial break. We're going to come back with our final segment. We put it out there last week. You too can send your romantic advice questions to Dear Andy at askandymBM@hotmail.com. The mailbox was blowing up, and I understand we've got another lonely heart out there in internet land who needs our help, and we are here for you people. We are here on the Midnight Black Mass. Eddie, if you want to hang around, you're more than welcome to sit in and listen to the wise words of Andrew Alexander. Coming right up on the Midnight Black Mass.
Because you do not get to win, shitbird. We do.
Won't you cry? Oh, shit, bird, yeah.
What was it? The shitbird?
And now, the Shitbird Break, featuring your friendly neighborhood strong-style psycho, Tank.
If you are in the business and don't know who Bruiser Brody is, you might be a shitbird.
This has been the Shitbird Break, featuring the strong-style psycho, Tank. Tune in each and every week on the Midnight Black Mass to find out how you can avoid being a shitbird.
Hey, kids. Get your official Midnight Black Mass merchandise just in time for Halloween at midnightblackmass.spreadshirt.com. Be the coolest ghoul on the block with your brand new Reject or Midnight Black Mass t-shirt. Get them exclusively online. Online exclusive, people. midnightblackmass.spreadshirt.com.
In this age of technology, appearance can make or break your franchise. Need to stand out in the crowd? Force FX is proud to work with each and every customer to bring them exciting new designs to reinvent their brand. Satisfaction guaranteed. Custom innovative logos can leave a lasting impression and add just the professional touch needed for you or your business to truly thrive. Let us help you grow with your own custom logo, starting out at the incredibly low price of $25. Force FX knows how to advertise. If you need flyers, business cards, web pages, promos, billboards, signs, or anything else designed differently and expertly, we can help. Send a message today with what you have in mind, and together we can create exactly what you need. The best designs, the best deals, designed differently. Force FX. Find out more at facebook.com/ForceFXDesigns or call 423-637-8784. He's left dozens of women sexually unfulfilled. He's not on speaking terms with any of his ex-lovers. He will unquestionably die alone.
Dear Andy.
And we're back on the Midnight Black Mass. It is now time for Dear Andy, our weekly installment of romantic advice from our resident love guru, the Wizard of Oz, Andrew Alexander. Andrew, do we have more lonely hearts out there in internet land that need your help?
Oh, if there's any way you can find lonely hearts, it's out there on the internet. And I have a real doozy of a floozy today. Today's letter starts, Dear Andy, which is a great way to start a letter. 2 weeks ago, I met a man at work. I'm a waitress, and he was one of my customers. I'm used to getting hit on, especially at work, but this guy was a little different. I thought we really hit it off. I gave him my number, and we've chatted quite a bit. This past weekend, I went to a party and got a little tipsy. I certainly wasn't drunk, but I didn't really want to drive home. I texted him, and he happened to be awake. I asked if he would mind to pick me up and let me stay with him until the morning. He said he'd be glad to, picked me up around 3 a.m. and took me to his place. Now, what was weird is that despite sleeping in his bed and being half naked, he didn't try to have sex with me. The more I've thought about it, the more frustrated I get. I know he's attracted to me, so I don't understand why he didn't make a move. I like him, but now I think he may be, quote-unquote, too nice. Should I see what happens the next time we hang out, or should I just give up on him? Sincerely, Frustrated in Fairmont. And I assume that's in Georgia. Well, frustrated. Oh, this is frustrating. This aggravates me a little bit. I mean, Rev, a guy literally cannot win these days. If a guy tries to sleep with the chick, he's an asshole. Now, this guy, he doesn't try to sleep with the chick, and she says he's too nice. We can't win.
That's where all of the modern communication elements come into play, where people should just stop playing the fucking stupid games and just be honest and tell people what they really want. But that's not acceptable in society, so I'm at a bit of a loss there.
No, it's not. But, maybe it seems to me that this was the first time they've hung out. She mentioned that they had texted since they'd met 2 weeks ago, but this was like the first time they had hung out. Maybe he was trying to be semi-respectful. Maybe he saw more into her than just a piece of ass. The dude was nice enough to pick her up at 3 a.m. He shouldn't have even had to make a move. She should have been choking on his lunch as soon as she got in the car. See, this is the girl that's going to be screwed over by some douchebag, and she's going to be complaining to anyone that'll listen. She'll probably be writing back in, "Dear Andy, I fucked this douchebag, and now he doesn't acknowledge my existence." But that's kind of what you should expect at this point. The only gripe she has about this guy is the first time they hung out, he didn't try to fuck her. Not everyone's a deviant like I am. Maybe he's just a decent human being. Maybe he's under the age of 25, so he's not so bitter, and he thinks that women are actually want to be treated decent. Oh, this pisses me off. You know what I would do? Frustrated. You know what I would do if I was you? I would definitely kick him to the curb, wait for another douchebag to ask you out, pretend to like you, tell you everything you want to hear, fuck you, and then act like he never knew you existed. Go through that about 15 to 20 more times, and then you'll be begging. You'll be dying at a chance for a nice guy like this schmuck that picked you up at 3 a.m. You'll be begging for a guy like this to come along, but guess what? A decent girl's already going to scoop him up. You're not going to find one once you're 35, used and abused, and you have 2 kids by 3 different guys. It's women like this. It's women like this that give me my other segment in the show, Fuck or Fail.
Fair enough. I think it's maybe is the guy into her? Maybe he's gay. Like, did she bother asking, or did you just expect him to fuck her?
I don't know. I just gotta go. Maybe he is gay, but I kind of doubt it if they're chatting up. He took her number, and it's been a couple of weeks. He goes and picks her up. Hell, it's 3 a.m. Maybe he just wanted some sleep. Maybe the ass wasn't worth it. Hey, maybe this girl's not all that. Maybe she thinks she's hot, but she's not. I don't know. I hope this poor guy's listening. If this sounds like something you're going through, the next time you see this girl, don't wait. Whip your dick out. When in doubt, whip it out. That's what I say.
I see Mr. Fast Eddie Lane, our contestant this week on Promo or Porno, and dear friend of the network, is still hanging on the line. I understand you had a little input that you wanted to give or feedback on Andrew's advice.
Andy, let me ask you this one. Would it hurt her to step up to the plate, pull out a stack of 51s and say, "Hey, I got an idea. Let's go to the nudie bar," and see if he actually gets off his ass and tips, or if he says, "No, let's go to Crystal instead"?
That's great advice. You're trying to steal my segment here. No, I think that's great advice. Sure. I mean, okay, this woman, if she wanted some action, if she wanted to see some, why is the guy's job to always make the first move?
Thank you.
I mean, chances are she's not going to whip out a stack of ones and let's go to the strip club. That may be a stretch, even though that's a great idea, and I would love to see that happen. I just don't know about it. But if she wanted some so bad, if she wanted to find out so bad, she could have made a move, or she could have gave a little opening to this poor guy. we don't know all of the situation. We don't know if this guy, he may be shy, he may be insecure, or like I've said before, he may just try to be a decent human and say, oh, this is the first time I've seen this chick where she wasn't bringing me food. Maybe I won't try to fuck her. Well, I hope the next time he does.
Maybe, perhaps, it's just that due to the perception, like he doesn't want the people to think that the chick is a whore because society has that stigma that if a girl sleeps with the guy on the first date, she's a whore. Not necessarily true if you're a chick that just knows what you want, but if you're playing the game, then yeah, you might be a whore. But regardless, I think the guy, he, like you said, he could be just trying to be a decent human being and maybe saving it for next time. I think as a dude, he probably would have done it had there not been any social implication behind it, but I think he was just looking out for a reputation.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing these things are anonymous because I wish I could ruin a reputation. Our official slogan to this segment, officially, I said it last week, but it's a thing now. It is an official thing. Hashtag it. Spread it like wildfire. Be careful because the balls you step on the way up may be attached to the dick you suck on the way down.
And that does it for this week's edition of Dear Andy here on the Midnight Black Mass, and that will wrap up the show. Any closing thoughts this week, my brother?
I don't have any thoughts. I'm thoughtless.
You have been called the thoughtless prick.
Well, I've been called much worse. Thoughtless prick, that doesn't even register. No, I think it was a great show. Man, we're hitting our stride. 2 shows in, I think. We're not gonna get canceled. The censorship, the censors aren't on us. As long as our listeners are happy, I'm happy. We're gonna be back. Episode 3, bigger, badder, better.
That's right. More promo or porno, more Dear Andy, more tales of a single man, more old man haters, more tank shitbird breaks, so much coming on the Midnight Black Mass, and eventually we're going to get around to squeezing in an interview or two, and we've got a top 5 and top 10 episodes coming up. Got a whole lot of fun. It's going to be all over the place and just continuing to do what we do here on the Midnight Black Mass. So, for Fast Eddie Lane and Andrew Alexander, I am the Reverend. Keep one foot in the gutter and one fist in the gold. We are out.
This has been a production of the Potty Humor Network. Find us online at youtube.com/Potty Humor or subscribe to us weekly and never miss an episode by searching Potty Humor on iTunes or Stitcher. Thank you for listening and good night.